We're going to do it ourselves today for Valentine's Day, or really any time of the year. This is kind of a fun way to prepare a little sweet treat for the holiday. It's very, you can impress your friends, your guests, your partners.
Your significant other,
and it's very simple. I think these are a lot of fun, and you really can't go wrong with them. And you can create some really nice organic shapes. And basically what we're going to be creating are some little chocolate serving bowls.
Okay.
And so kind of some servingware. So it saves on dishes because you get to eat the plate or bowl that you're going to be serving your dessert on, which is always fun. And again, very simple and minimal supplies. You don't need to go out and get a bunch of stuff.
And some of these things, some of the produce that you have here is on sale this week too, which take advantage of that.
Oh, that's right.
So
You're the man. If you need to know what's on sale where, Lou's your guy. Lou is your guy for sure. All right, so we're going to start with, you need to get some chocolates. Some melting chocolate. So you can get white chocolates, your dark chocolate, milk chocolates, whatever your
No, those are the ones that come in little disc shapes?
Yes, so you can get, they come in chips, you can get them in blocks, bars, you can get, you can buy them in bulk and then kind of shave it down and get it melted. And then what I like to do is melt it, and you can melt them in the microwave if you have one in that way, but I find that's a little more apt to, I can burn it in there, or I don't like that method. I really like to do it in like a double boiler.
And if you don't have a double boiler, you can make your own.
Yes, and I just use, you can use an electric skillet, put some water in it, and then put some heat proof. You can put another little small pan in there. I use my measuring cup, something that's heat proof, let it sit in there, and then put all of your chips in there. And if you break them down into smaller pieces, makes it a little bit more of an even melt.
And just get a little boil going to it, or a little heat going to it, and they'll melt. Take a little while, but they'll finally melt.
Yes, and then once you have that nice and creamy, you're going to be ready to start forming up your bowls.
Yeah, here we go. So this is what it looks like. Is that cool?
So you don't want to overdo it, because once you heat it up too much, and it's really hard to, I haven't really been overdone it by doing it in a double boiler in the water bath. It makes it pretty foolproof. Okay, then what you need to have is, you need to get some parchment paper. So, and you're going to cut out just a circle, and you could trace a bowl on here if you want. I'm going to cut you out a little section.
Okay.
So just turn that into a nice size circle.
Okay.
And you want to, we're going to make, you can see kind of the size of some of the bowls that we're going to be making. They're not too large. You could play around with making some really big ones. They just tend to get a little bit harder to manage and handle. So you could trace something on here if you like, or there you go, well done.
Not a perfect circle, but doesn't matter.
And you want to have some extra paper for we're going to be putting the chocolate on here, and it's going to kind of drizzle down a little bit and drip. So you want to have extra paper according to the size of bowl that you're going to be creating.
Okay, so is this one too small?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Then you're going to need some sort of a vessel to form it over. And there's a couple of different ways to do this. So I like to use a glass. And you can use little bowls that kind of taper up. And once we kind of play with it, you'll get to see why you want to use something that's a little bit more narrow. Because it's going to kind of flare out, and it helps it shape. So there's two ways to build your bowl. One way, I'm going to let you do the first method. Take some of the chocolate and create
does it matter which chocolate I use?
A little puddle. You're going to create a little puddle.
Just regular chocolate, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Whichever one. And we can mix them. You can kind of do a little swirl if you want.
Just put it in the middle.
Yep, just put some in the middle. There you go. You don't have to overdo it. Now maybe add a little bit of white to that. A little white chocolate.
On top of it?
Yeah, just a little, not quite that much. There you go. Look at you getting all excited. You don't even like chocolate, do you? Okay, and then you can kind of give it a little swirl if you want.
It's like you're doing a pizza, like pizza sauce.
And then you're going to take it to your cup.
Oh, so you're putting the whole blob on top like this.
You can put it right over
the
top.
You're letting gravity do the work?
Yes, and then I give it a little
pinch.
Kind of a little shake. There we go. And then once you kind of have it, these are going to, when you do it this way, the bowls are going to be more like a little, not necessarily a plate.
Like a serving dish almost.
Like a little bit more of a serving dish style, but you can create some interesting looks with the drips and so forth. But once you have this on here, then what you want to do is you're going to do a flash freeze. You're going to go set it in the freezer.
In the freezer?
In the freezer.
Okay.
So I'll let you go set that.
See if I can not drop it. Okay.
Set it in the freezer, and then we'll be able to take it out, and it just takes a few minutes to kind of set up, and it'll keep it from dripping. All right, and then the other method is we're going to take our parchment paper and we're going to form it right over our cup. And you'll notice I'm using glasses because that also gives us some height.
Okay.
Because you want to have a little bit of, if you start to use shorter things, your bowl is going to be a lot shallower. You're going to lose that room for things to kind of drip down.
You want to get the paper around it.
Exactly. Okay. So just like that. And now then go ahead and take some of the chocolate. And you're going to do the same thing. And don't go crazy with your chocolate here. Just start in the center.
Same one or the other chocolate?
Get a nice little, that one, we bubbled the water over in it.
Okay, so just plop it on top of it?
So just put a little bit, yep, put some on the top. Kind of, there you go. And then let's add a little bit of the white to that.
Okay. And again, you want to get enough of the chocolate, so are you going to help it along here, or is gravity going to work this one too?
Just a little, well, perfect. That's about.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to judge the amount of chocolate you put on here by the thickness of it and the size of that you're working with. Once you do a couple, you'll get a good feel for, and then we're going to shake it a little bit.
Where did you learn how to do this?
I don't know. I did this a long time ago for one of our Courage to Create shows.
Sure.
Just playing around with things. We did. There we go. But you can see how that's
coming
down nice. This is my favorite way to do it. The other way works nice if you want this type, a little bit, something that's a little more spread out. But this is probably my favorite.
This is a little easier, I think.
It's a little easier, and go ahead and
same deal.
Set that in there.
Okay. We'll see what comes out here in just a couple seconds.
Can you see how that's already stopped running in there? I know we can't get the camera over there to show you that, but stick it in the freezer right away. It'll stop that running and it'll keep that shape exactly as you put it in there.
Okay.
And then this is what it's going to be like when you take it out.
Okay.
So just gently, they've been sitting here. As they warm up, they get a little bit more fragile, but you'll be able to take the parchment paper out, and you want to take the parchment paper out right when it comes out of the freezer. You can see how this is starting to soften up a little bit.
Probably from the heat from your hand, too.
Yeah, and the lights in here. But while it's still frozen,
there it is.
Nice and cool.
Got this one off.
Hold that. There you go. This is going to be a little better example. Yep. See, it's starting to get a little soft. But there's your bowl. They're beautiful, and you can create some nice little swirls in there, and then you can store them in the refrigerator until you're ready to use them, or you can keep them in the freezer as well. And I'm going to have you go back over to the freezer. I've got a few that are already finished in there.
Okay.
So you can bring those, and we can show you how to, you can put some fresh fruits in here. And then a little tip I didn't have time to put, but you can get these little marble tiles, like ceramic tiles.
Sure.
Use marble or glass and put them in the freezer, and then they'll freeze up, and that'll create like a nice little serving ice block for you to put the bowls on. Okay, this one, when we put it in there, yes, there we go. So we opened this one up so you could kind of see from the side. And then you can fill that with some ice cream. You can break off pieces of it and then add that as kind of your little
garnish.
Decorative, but you can make them really pretty. And that actually, I broke when we put it in the freezer.
No,
over
that's
there.
the way you did it on
That's how
purpose.
you make it work, and you really can't go wrong with I don't know whether it's photographing quite as well, but see this nice, cute little one right here?
Right.
We'll put a couple of scoops of little gelato in there with some fruits.
That works out really well.
You can put, have fun with filling them up.
And it's different too. It's something, it's different, and it's handmade, and people are going to be able to appreciate that too.
Yes, and you want to be able to, keep them cold until you're ready to serve them, and then, because like I said, when they start to warm up, they're going to lose their shape and
so
their crispness.
Keep them cool.
Exactly. So keep them in the freezer or fridge until you're ready to serve them. And you can play around with different chocolate combinations. You could add a little bit of, I've done some real pretty ones with the white chocolate, and you can swirl a little bit of red food coloring throughout it and create some real pretty ones as well.
Just use your imagination.
Exactly. So they're a lot of fun, and it's easy, and you can just, a few bars of chocolate, you can make a few bowls out of it, so you don't have to have a lot of material.
Go a long way. We want to check and see what ours look like.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
We're kind of rushing things a little bit, but you might get is it starting to set up a little?
Here's the first one here.
Yeah, see? It'll start.
Take a look at our first one here.
You have chocolate all over your hands. See how it sets up quickly? Might be.
There it is. There's the first one. This little chocolate
and that's been in there
platter.
2 minutes.
If that.
So let it, completely set up. Or with these really cold temperatures that we have, if you don't have room in your freezer or refrigerator, you can benefit from the outdoors, these cold temperatures when you're making all of this stuff up and don't necessarily have room. But see how it
this guy here is still shimmering. Yeah. But it stopped it. You can see, you mentioned that it would stop it from running.
And then let it get nice and cold, take that parchment out, and it's ready to kind of plate up and have some fun. That one's not quite ready yet. Not quite ready.
No, it's still dripping over. Turn that cup over again, Michelle.
That one's not quite ready.
We're going to put them back in there. So just proof. This is what happens if you don't wait for long enough.
Double boiler. Get your chocolates all nice and melted. Work with some taller vessels to form over and some parchment paper. And it's a great project to do with the kids. They love to kind of help.
It just doesn't take that long.
And then you come up with your own creative ideas and ways to kind of shape things out. And you can kind of just do some drizzles and really build them up and make them a little bit denser and thicker too.
So when Friday rolls around, you can be creative.
That's right, and these look beautiful when you have set out, especially if you're gonna have some friends over for dinner. And again, not just for Valentine's Day, but anytime throughout the year.
Perfect, great ideas.
And they're very tasty.
That is it. So happy Valentine's Day.
One less dish to wash too.
I like that part.
You have all this from making. And you can please share your ideas if you do these projects. Share some photos with it. We'd love to hear from you at Remake Life website or online for Facebook or here at Iowa Live.
And don't forget, if you have
creativity is contagious.
If you have some strawberries left over and you have some leftover chocolate, you can always, make it super fancy and really do it up right.
Kind of put those in the bowl.
Yeah, and you're all set to go. Just that simple. Perfect. See that?
Very nice.
The strawberry on top of the sundae.
You need to make something extra special for Kathy this weekend.
All right, it is 9:42 right now. Don't go too far.